Welcome back, everyone, to another thrilling episode of Thrive Street Program with Coach 2Js. This is your host, Jeremy Jones. And today we're going to talk about paying attention to your surroundings and why this is important in life, not just in the gym, as well as some points for today's workout. So, um, one of the things we want to do with the contexts is take the conversation beyond the gym. We want to view the gym as it's kind of like the way school is supposed to be. The stuff we learn in training or in school is the whole idea, the whole term training is denotes that we're doing this to then use it outside of the classroom. And the gym should be viewed very similarly. It's to enhance our lives outside of the gym. So it's a very concentrated, diligent, planned amount of time spent to then enhance our lives outside of the gym. And one of the ways we can do that is by creating conversations about these lessons that people can learn to use in the rest of their lives. And I think a lot of times, like for example, today we have these, or anytime we have team workouts, there's a really important, I like to create workouts that have a communication component. So you have to kind of know where your partner is, or know how many reps they're going to do, or how many reps, what the plan is, how many reps you're supposed to do, and paying attention to your surroundings. Like for example, we're doing burpee box jump overs. So in this case, the burpee box jump overs, one of the reasons why I don't program them very often is just because they take up a lot of space. So if you have this box here, and you have the person down here doing burpees, they're going to be extending their whole body out each way, right? So you have a person doing a burpee here, they jump up and over the box, and then now their body's stretched out this way. So if you have even just a 5-foot person, that's 10 feet on both sides, plus the box, another 2 feet, that's 12, plus a gap on each side, call it 6 inches, which is pretty close. But that would be now they're 13 feet long, and somebody else might be nearby, and they're perpendicular, and they might start kicking each other, or someone might drop a barbell and they might trip on the barbell, or might bounce and hit them. So you have to pay attention to the surroundings for safety in a workout like this. And now if you have everybody in the class and it's an individual workout doing these, it can get pretty sketchy. That's one of the reasons why I don't use them very often. They're a decent movement. There's also the jumping over sometimes can be sketchy. The boxes can tip, or people can hurt themselves. But by paying attention to our surroundings, even like where our partners are at, but also safety, is important, that we aren't going so hard we don't know what's going on around us. And in life, I think a lot of times we're going so hard with work, or we're staring at our cell phone, or we're driving our car and we're totally distracted or whatever. That's when accidents happen. That's when bad things happen. Or if someone's using their cell phone in a public place, someone might run up and steal it, or they might get jumped or whatever. So paying attention to your surroundings is an important thing, that we actually are present in the moment, and so we're not totally getting lost all the time. So you can start with the conversation around safety. Say, hey, look, you got a partner to worry about. You got to have a strategy here. There's also the safety component. But why do you think it's important to pay attention to your surroundings in your daily life, and then drive that little bit of conversation? As usual, we don't want to be sitting around talking for 15 minutes. We don't have that kind of time. That's not what people are actually paying you for. But we do want to insert these little lessons in, these little conversations in, because it does build value to what you're offering, and builds the experience of the gym, and helps people become better humans. All right, so we got our Coach Choice warm up. Have fun with that. You guys know what to do. Have a fun game, or do some of your own warm up stuff, or use some of the special equipment you guys have in the gym. Then we're doing some hip activation stuff, because we're doing some more squats. Now, I talked about this in one of the other videos, but sometimes I do similar movement patterns on back-to-back days, and it has to do with the fact that with Thrive reprogramming, one of the things that I've learned is that it's better to do smaller sets of and less total volume of a movement more frequently than doing, say, a squat metcon that has 150 of a squatting movement, like wall balls or something else, once the whole week. Then if people miss that day, they didn't get any squat necessarily. Maybe we do one heavy squat during the week, and then we do 150 wall balls on a different day. And if they only do the heavy squat, they're not on the same program as everyone else who did both, or vice versa. And so it's also very hard on the body, creates a lot of undue soreness. But what we do know is that if we can stack these movements in the week, as long as they're in reasonable volumes. So for today's workout, we have an average of about 6 rounds. So that's 120 squats, but we're splitting it up between 2 people, and it's also broken up between these other movements. So it's not like they're doing them all in one big set. So that's going to reduce a lot of the soreness. And even with the 20, that's, people don't even have to do 10 in a row. They could do sets of 5 and rotate even more. So even though we did some heavy squats and some goblet squats yesterday, today should be fine for people to do this sort of lighter slash medium weight back squat in this Metcon environment. And then we have a couple days rest before we do any other squats. So they do show up, and it is by design, and I am paying attention to those volumes. So I think sometimes when people just see that there's two movements that are back-to-back days or a couple days apart, they don't recognize necessarily what's going on with the bigger picture, which is my job, right? All right, so necessary evil. We did this one back in August. It's a 25-minute AMRAP, so a little bit longer of a Metcon, and there isn't a whole lot of resting here. So some team workouts have a lot of rest. This one doesn't. We're going to do a run or a half airdyne bike. Hopefully we can get both people to do it together. So that would be 200 for both people, right? So they'd both run, or half-mile airdyne for both people. One person could run, one person could do the airdyne, then they could switch the next round if you don't have enough bikes. That's another way to do it. Then we're going to do 20 back squats. This is from the floor. Make sure you teach people how to get the bar on their back safely. Don't have people try to hand the bar to each other. Just let them drop it to the floor. It's if you have some real, they like to compete in like the team events. They might have already practiced it, then they could sort of do that skill. But in general, trying to hand a back squat bar off to somebody else, even if they get it back to the front rack and hand it to their partner, is just super sketchy. Just drop it from the floor and have them clean it up. And then we got 20. Now that's one person working at a time, and then 20 burpee box jump overs, one person at a time. But what I expect people to do, and what I recommend people do, is they just kind of go in a circle, right? So one person does the burpee box jump, and the other person, basically, as soon as the person hits the ground, the next person drops down in their burpee, and then the person A walks behind. So they're kind of going like in a circle. So they're not really resting. It's instead of just turning around and doing the burpee, you could do it, jump over, and then burpee back to the starting place, and then the second person goes. Again, that's not a lot of rest. So really, they're only getting rest when the person's doing their partners in their back squats. I do expect people to try to use one barbell. Is usually ideal, especially because this workout does take up a lot of space. But if you have people using different loads, obviously you have two different barbell weights. I've got an indie version if people want to do the indie version, and because it is a Saturday, even though we did a long workout, I went ahead and included some hypertrophy and cash out work, so people want to do a little extra because it's a Saturday. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.